So we're all hearing about UFOs. Yeah, you heard that right. Unidentified flying objects. And here to talk about that is my friend Tim Chrisman. He's the executive director of the Foundation for the Future. So Tim, the future is now. What did the government tell us about UFOs?
They took 9 pages to say we're really not sure, but if you give us money, we will be able to figure this out.
So what does that mean? So if we do give them money, what are they going to do?
So what they looked at was about 145 different incidents that they found over about a 20-year period where there were reports and or some sort of signature on radar or some other device showing an unidentified flying object. And they went through all these records and were able to definitively identify one thing. It was a balloon that had popped. The rest of the incidents, they said, more likely than not, a lot of it's probably junk. There's a long history of some of these advanced systems that are picking up these signatures, getting the bugs worked out, and they're being ghost signatures, so to speak. But there were about 20 that the entire intelligence community, when they came together for this report, said, look, these could represent advanced technologies that we've not seen demonstrated elsewhere, but we need to find out if they belong to Russia or China or one of our peer adversaries. Because
or wait, Tim, does it belong to us and the government is so big and sprawling that they don't talk to each other about, like, this may be our junk flying through the air?
It's a better question than you may know, because there is a category in this report of US systems that we don't know about. And it is actually in there, and they could not rule out that. So yes, probably some of them are. My general rule of thumb, so looking at the history of some of these UFO sightings over the decades, if it's over the center of the US, probably an American system. There's a long history of the CIA, Air Force running tests of our advanced aircraft over continental US. And so if you see them there, it's probably American. On the coast, where most of these were, that's where it gets interesting, because in many cases, we don't fly our tests outside the US because we don't want foreign spy ships being able to pick them up. And so when they're running around Navy exercises or Air Force exercises off the coast, it gets weird, especially for a US test.
So these agencies are kind of seizing the moment, right? Here in the media, we're very interested in unidentified flying objects, but they're saying, hey, well, why don't you give us a little bit more money so you can see the end of the movie?
It almost sounds like they're trying to renew the season. They got to the end of the first one. It didn't really conclude anything. They haven't written the second one. Now we got to figure out what comes next. There is probably a case to be made that they need to figure this out, and some of it's going to require some advanced sensors and some more work. But it sure does feel like we did our homework, here you go, sort of report. It's yeah.
We're not going to do the work unless you present some cash. So what should Congress do now? Should this be a funding priority for us to, kind of unpack these flying saucers and whatnot flying above us that may or may not belong to our adversaries?
Well, I think it's that is a good thing for Congress to start looking at, is whether it's funding for additional systems to look at this, or taking note that places like China, who just announced over the weekend that they're going to have a megawatt class space-based solar power system that'll beam power to the earth in some sort of crazy sci-fi future by 2030. When they're talking about that, it's probably a good time for Congress to take note that our adversaries are coming close or passing us in a lot of areas. And so we need to take a hard look at where we're investing for the future. So not just figuring out the past and how they've been playing pranks on us, but where are we putting our money for the future? And that's one of the things here at the foundation that we're working with congressional appropriators to try to make sure that they put money where it's going to have the best long-term impact. We may not find UFOs, but we're going to set up the future to be able to receive the real aliens when they show up.
So people are reporting all over the country, and of course all of us carry a camera with us, that they see these things, right? That they see these unidentified flying objects, right? So what should you do, Tim, if you see a UFO? Record it, talk about
record it for sure. The more recordings, the better. And ultimately, if it looks like something you've seen before, it probably is. And you may just be seeing it a little off. But record it anyway. It's a good Facebook story. It's a good, chance to post on Twitter. And who knows? Some of these reports ended up crowdsourcing videos from people who are nearby. And so better safe than sorry. Record it, and you may end up getting a call from the men in black who want to have you help them with their new investigation.
Well, hopefully they don't bring that little thing that makes you forget everything, like in the movie, wipe your mind.
That's fair.
Well, on that note, Tim, thank you so much for your time, and good luck on your forays into UFOs. I'm sure the whole world is watching.
Thank you so much. Take care.